ऐसे निकला था नहीं देखा आराम से रहे थे हाँ यूट्यूब में है put up the PPT तो recipe डालती ही होगा and you've done the exercises PPT में जो थे and I have put an assignment also उन्हें देखा First, idioms का हम लोग था ना assignment. Do you have volume 6? Volume 5 तो लाने को बोला था, volume 6 नहीं है. Vocabulary कैसे चल रहा है? Are you going through the words? The idioms and words list दिया हुआ है. है ना? How many pages? Almost about 50 pages. है ना? So daily, at least open your book and go through 10 idioms, 10 words. Did you do the assignment? No. And नहीं मिला. So one thing you should remember कि on a regular basis, at least do the assignments. Any questions did I give you? Uh, So whatever it is, the entire exercise will have not more than 30 questions. Right? If I tell you to do entire exercise, 30 questions. If I tell you to do half the exercise, 15 questions. So 30 questions for, say, grammar, vocabulary, and idioms shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. Huh? Yes, Parth, what about you?
You gave a assignment module 6. Right? And I didn't complete it but I had started.
Started means still how many questions?
I got once 5 very well. Then I think I got one answer wrong and then I decided to check it again, but then I did it.
Good afternoon, Harini. Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. So you were there last time, right? Whenever your exams are over, how many lessons did you miss? More than 4. And have you taken the pain to go through anything? No? So that's a pending book to do. Yes or no? So you've got your volume 5 today. I told you to get your volume 5, right? So what we'll do today is we will begin with sentence completion. Yes. Simple words में बोले तो fill in the blanks. With what? Vocabulary words. Right? So that's why it's very important to catch up on your vocabulary. So who has gone through any of the vocabulary lists in the book? No. कब शुरू कब करोगे? You're waiting till the date of the exam? You have confusing words. You have words used in different ways. Yeah, synonyms, homonyms. Then you have, yes, please. And then you have your difficult words. So when we are, now, not that you will remember or know 100% of the words, but you have to get used to it, right? A reading, you are, vocabulary,
I'll searching 3 words every single day, 3 words, containing or the meaning of the camera.
and what were the words in the book? It's available to you. So do 10, now, from now onwards, no excuses. अगर एग्जाम देना है तो you have to be thoroughly. Yes, please. So if you have to be thoroughly prepared, क्या करना है? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए एग्जाम में. I didn't know any of the words. I left all the vocab questions. कितने questions थे? 5 to 10. 5 to 10 questions अगर चले गए, idioms, you couldn't figure out, didn't know any of the idioms, 5 questions gone. Right? Can't afford it. कुछ questions गलत होंगे, कुछ questions नहीं आएंगे, but it shouldn't be that it wasn't, you were in such a situation you couldn't do any of it. Right? है कि नहीं? तो क्या करना है? See, no matter what exam you give, whether you are aiming IPM Indore, whether you are aiming any other exam, even Maharashtra ka CET, all of them, you have the same type of questions. So basic has to be strong, right? So vocabulary, idioms, I can't sit in class and make you learn words and idioms. You have to do it on your own. And without any excuse, every single day, 10 words पढ़ने में कितना time लगेगा? 5 minutes? That much you can put in. So if you are preparing for an exam, how much time do you need to give on a regular basis? 1 or 2 hours, right? So if you are on a regular practice, you won't have any difficulty in cracking the exam. Last moment preparation में नहीं होता है ना? So it has to be there in you. It has to be a part of you. Okay. So we begin with, let's see if we can figure out the fill in the blanks. Harini, can you have your video on this?
Yes, ma'am.
So now when we talk about sentence completion, now sentence completion, I know definitely you will get 5 questions. Other exams may be 5 to 8 questions of sentence completion, right? Apart from the, and this doesn't include the idioms ka sentence completion. This is just vocab. That's in a sentence or multiple sentences, right? You will also get passages where you have to complete. Good afternoon, Yashom. So in sentence completion, when we talk about what do we, you need a strong vocabulary. So it's testing your vocabulary. Next, it's testing your comprehension skills. That is whether you can understand what is written. Right? That is very important. So these are equally important. If you don't understand what the sentence is trying to tell you or what the passage is trying to tell you, now whether it is a big comprehension passage or a single sentence, comprehension is important, right? And most important is your analytical skills. Over and above all these, whether you can analyze the context of the sentence, whether you can join the dots, whether you can find the relationship between the different ideas in a sentence. What do we mean by relationship between ideas? Whether they are contrasting ideas, whether they are giving reason, whether they are supporting statements, right? Whether you have to find a conclusion or you have to infer. Critical reasoning में ये बहुत है, right? So these are the things you need to, or rather, that's what you are being tested on. So all of these things are important. Now, what are the types of questions you will be getting? You will get, say, 1 blank questions, 2 blanks, 3 blanks, 4 blanks, sometimes 5 blanks, or a big passage with, say, about 8 blanks. There. So if you're doing something like SET, that is symbiosis, will give you a big passage. They break it up into like questions, and each blank will have 4 options. You have to choose. So when you have a big paragraph, you have to understand the context of the entire paragraph. Yeah, you have to analyze every blank in the context of the paragraph. So now we always say that since it is all unseen, all you can learn is your vocabulary. Other than that, you don't know what words are going to come, what question is going to come. So strategies are important. So same strategy applies to all fill in the blanks questions. So what are you looking for? First thing is and when you have words which are unfamiliar, then you look for the prefixes, suffixes, cognates, that is whether it's a positive word or negative word. You look for the, say, the root words. You look for the contexts. So you have to figure out what it means if you don't know the meaning, right? And what helps you the most? Context. From the context, you can figure out what word can come, right? Then you have to look for the clue words in the passage or the sentence. So if you read, if that's where your comprehension comes in. If you understand the given sentence properly, half your work is done. Or in fact, 75% of your work. Yeah. So 75% possibility that you will be getting the right answer unless you don't know any of the words at all. But this will help you eliminate. So in a sentence like we did for the, say, even the idioms, what did we say? Read the sentence, figure out what can come in your own words, and then look for the answer. Right? That's our strategy. So say it in your own words. Maybe a phrase comes to your mind, a simple word comes to your mind. Look, then you go and look for a word which is similar. And connotation is important. So whether the entire sentence has a positive tone, a negative tone, that will determine what type of words you need. Okay? And now when you are practicing, you will be looking at all the words. Right? What is the key? Eliminate. Eliminate words that you know will not fit. Maybe you're left with two. They're similar. They may be synonyms, but only one will fit in. How do you figure out? The tone of the sentence. Because do you need sometimes there will be two words, one is milder, one is strong. Maybe the sentence requires a milder word or a stronger word. So the context will determine which word you will go with. Okay. So that's what we said. Now we go through these a little in detail. So when you have a long sentence, first thing you do is break it up into pieces. Simplify. That is, paraphrase, say it in your own words. What is the sentence actually talking about? Right? Or a passage, what it is talking about. Look for the keywords. What will the keywords do? They will give you an idea about what the line of thought is. So once you have that idea, it becomes easy to put other things together. Now, smaller sections में क्या होगा? From the smaller sections, what do you take? Do you take everything? No. Essential information.
What are smaller sections?
Because you are breaking it into pieces. Say you have 3 sentences given to you. Now, all these sentences, long passage becomes at least about almost a paragraph, short paragraph, difficult to understand, right? So, yes, welcome back to class. So when you have broken up into smaller pieces, it is easier to understand. So from each piece, you pick up the most important information. With 2 examples, you will figure out. So what do we talk about? Say there's a sentence talking about, say, the floods and the disaster it caused. And it also has so many people died, so much harm was done. It happened in so and so time. Because of this, it happened. Now your blanks maybe are related to only the reason. Right? So you will remove all the inessential information, get to the main point. And look for the clue to find your word. Right? Yes. क्या हो गया emergency? The message her, I'm in class. She must be asking whether you reached her. Just tell her you reached. This is good. Okay, so when you've broken up into small pieces, then we look for the important information. Then you're connecting the dots. Yes, welcome. So how do you connect so what do you mean by connectors? Transitions? You've done them earlier also. So if you have a contrast, you know, you have a contrasting idea coming in, you are looking for those particular words, right? Now, when we spoke about comprehending, so you have come down to the connectors, you got a general idea of what is being said. See, now if you analyze, these are all, say, parts of comprehending. Whether you have a big passage or a small passage or a single sentence, same thing. Break it up into pieces. First thing is read thoroughly. If you do, first thing you do is read what is given to you. and that has to be quick reading. So quick reading means what are you doing? You figure out a general idea. Then break it down into pieces, look for the keywords, important information. Next, you start connecting the ideas that are there in your sentence. So then we come to the tone or mood. Very important. So if you don't understand the tone, you may end up with the wrong answer. Because remember, those people sitting there creating the questions know your psychology. Right? They know if a student hasn't understood, or if this is the line of thought, he will choose this answer. If this is the line of thought, he will go with that answer. Right? So they will always put in something which will mislead you. But you have to be smart. And that's where practice comes in. Right? Not only knowing, but your strategy and applying your strategy is important. So relationship between the blank and the rest of the sentence. So now you come down to that particular blank. You've understood everything. You put the ideas together, understood the relationship between the ideas. Now you come down to the particular blank. What do we need in the blank? Which and how it relates to the rest of the sentence. Yeah. So all along you are connecting ideas and concepts. Right? And like I said, there will be, you can be confused between two answers. Then what do you do? Analyze further. Remember, they are looking for people who have good analytical skills. Easy answers कर लिए, difficult answers छोड़ दिए. That's not who they are looking for, right? So you have to be able to analyze and choose the logically correct answer. So if you are confused between two answers, analyze deeper, apply your logic. So it's all brain work. Fill in the blanks, अभी स्कूल जैसा नहीं है. ये है एक पैसेज दिया है उसमें से fill in the blanks हो गया easily. It will be complicated. And you have to be ready for the challenge. Right? So ये नहीं सोचना कि IPM देना है ठीक है grammar आ गया कुछ vocabulary आ गया will crack it. Not that easy. Yeah. And I told you earlier also, I repeat again. You have to keep in mind how many people are giving the exam and how many seats there are. So you have to be on the top. And that requires hard work. Not only hard work, smart work. Right? So you have to sharpen your brain. So train your brain to do these questions in the least amount of time. So if you practice, say, 30 questions every alternate day, और अभी के लिए 30 questions every week, उतना assignment जो मिलता है उतना भी करो. So you are getting used to it. So by the end of it, you will be able to do the questions. So after you have done all this, you predict your word and answer your answer. Now, when you have come to your answer, what do you do? Okay, you think that this is the right word. Then plug it back into the sentence. See if it fits in grammatically, and the idea also is correct. Right? Most of the time we forget to plug the answer back. And we end up with a word which is not supposed to be the answer. So we are looking for the word and you are eliminating antonyms and the words which. So this we already spoke about. Cognates, there is affixes, prefixes. We've done these earlier also. We spoke about affixes, prefixes such as multi or say bene. Very common in any exam. Any word with bene means it is a positive word, something related to good. Right? Like gram, epigram, telegram. Gram means related to something written. Right? Like pseudo relates to
Fake.
fake. Right? Okay. Let's look at this question. This has two blanks. So if we first thing what we do, read what is given. So if you're going to read what is given, it says the argument by the finance minister that high inflation is the necessary price for high economic growth is clearly dashed. Okay? And the second sentence, dash China has been growing at close to double-digit rates for more than a decade. Inflation has been either low or falling through most of these years. Everyone knows here, everyone is aware of what inflation is. Growth rate. So terms are not unfamiliar. So now we read it. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What type of relationship could be there between the sentences? So if you read the first sentence, the argument by the finance minister that high inflation is necessary. So the finance, if we break it down, what is the finance minister saying? High inflation is necessary price for high economic growth. He thinks two essential informations. If we want high economic growth, we need high inflation. Right? Second sentence, China has been growing at close to double-digit rates for more than a decade. So that means China has high growth rate. And inflation has been either low or falling through most of these years. So what do we see? China has a high growth rate, but inflation is low. That is in contrast to the first sentence. Right? So we will be looking for words which will bring out the contrast between the two statements. Now you're, okay, another thing, when you have two blanks, when you look at the options, your words that you choose should both be correct and in the same order. Two things you have to keep in mind. First word should go into the first blank, second word should go into the second. Right? Okay. So now if you were to fill in the blanks with your own words, forget about the words that are given to you. If you were to fill in the blanks with your own words, simple words or phrases, so what would you think of? Argument of the finance minister, by the finance minister, the high inflation necessary price for high economic growth is clearly not correct. Right? You can say simple terms may not correct. Now, China, China has been growing at close to double-digit rates. So, what can we think over here? Something to do with contrast? Now, if we look at the words given to us, first one say A, we have ingenious and while. Now while can go into the second blank, can it? Now if you look at all, we go through all of them. Ingenious, while, ingenious. First one is ingenious. Second one is ingenuous. We have done these words, remember? Anyone remembers? All of does. Anybody else? No idea? Okay, let's look at the word. Ingenious. Break the word down into root word. In plus genius. Genius would refer to clever, right? Ingenuous. Genuine would be like childlike, it could be naive. It could even mean like it is not very mature, right? Dissentious. Dissent means, what would dissent mean? Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's involved. So like up to down.
Put you down. Not really put you down, but it would be like going against something, right? Not agreeing to or going against the norm, something like that. So, disingenuous. Now, ingenuous we know is something that is genuine or honest. Disingenuous is the opposite of that, right? So even if you don't know the meaning of the words, you can figure out from breaking the words down, right? Okay, now getting back to the sentence. Now let's look at the second blank first. So we can eliminate something. Now while can fit in. After all, unaffected, honest doesn't fit in, right? So we eliminate B. Considering contentious, does it fit into the second blank? Considering contentious, China has been growing at close to double-digit rates. Yeah. Though misrepresented, we're talking only about the second blank. So what do we eliminate? We eliminate B. So we can eliminate B. C eliminated. Though misrepresented, now the fact is given to us, China is growing at this rate. Yeah. So would that be misrepresented? No, it's a fact given to you. So we can eliminate B. What are we left with? A. So now ingenious would be clever, resourceful, or like the finance minister says that there is high inflation, but yes, we need the high inflation for growth, right? The argument is clearly ingenious. That is, he seems to be very clever, but China is still growing at double digit with low inflation. That makes sense? Yeah. So now here with the first blank, would you be clear about what word goes in? Little dicey, right? So if you're not very clear with one blank, you go to the other blank. Eliminate what cannot be an answer. What is left is your answer. Yeah. And it does make sense. Now you don't take everything at face value because you know this is going to be a little challenging in common.
Ma'am, I had one doubt, ma'am. In the options B, C, and D, ma'am, we only have two blanks, ma'am. But why is there, like, for example, in B,
Ma'am,
there is
but
ingenuous after all,
Yeah,
unaffected, and
so
honest?
you know clearly that that is not going to be your answer. Eliminate.
Ma'am, so because there are more than two options, we can just eliminate.
There, yeah, because you know that this doesn't make sense. Eliminate. Sometimes they can give you like that. After all, unaffected, honest. You know that. Okay.
So basically, because there are more options than blanks, so we can eliminate that option.
Yeah. You can
All
do that.
right.
Now, when we spoke about keywords and phrases, what are we looking for? Transitions, contrast, support. So the words that you are looking for. Now, what did we see in the previous question? There was a contrast. We had a contrasting word, while. Yeah. So all these words, but, rather, although, however, while will give you contrast. What will and give you? Addition. Therefore, because will give you cause effect relationship. Yeah, we've done this earlier also.
excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Harini.
I actually got disconnected. I had a doubt in the previous question.
Question. Yes.
Didn't we conclude that the finance minister was wrong in saying that inflation is necessary?
Yeah. Now, what we did was we eliminated the second blank options. Right? Now, if you look at this ingenuous, dissentious, and disingenuous. These were our options for the first blank. Now you look for the blank which is easier to deal with. Right? So second blank was easier to deal with. We eliminated options which were not correct for the second blank. So we were left with a while fits in. And if you look at the first blank, ingenious would be clever, resourceful. So if you put in an argument that the finance minister is supporting the fact that high inflation is good for economic growth, or it's the necessary price for economic growth, and people would say his argument is clever, but on the other hand, we can see China is still growing with low inflation. Right?
Understood.
Makes sense now?
Yes, ma'am.
So basically, you just like put in your own words, comprehend what it is trying to say. Okay? Okay. Now let's look at this question. We're looking for now if you here we are talking about how to use or how to analyze a sentence using the indicators. Yeah. Now this sentence begins with although. Although the warring parties had settled a number of disputes, past experience made them dash to express optimism that talks would be a success. Now, even before going into the blanks, what do? Understand the statement, break it down. Yeah. So if you are going to break it down, what do we have? Now it begins with although, means yes, what is saying? The warring parties had settled a number of disputes in the past. Right? Second fact. Then past experience made them dash to express optimism. We are talking about past experience. What did the past experience do? They made them something to express optimism that talks would be a success. Now your key is the although. So that means if you break it down and pick out the important facts, they have settled disputes earlier, right? But there's a big question of whether they are sure about settling the disputes now, right? So now from their past experience, what has the past experience made them? Doubtful about settling disputes? To express optimism that talks would be a success. So they are not very sure whether the talks would be a success based on their past experience, right? So what word can go in? Made them rash? Would rash fit in? No. Ambivalent. Ambivalent means ambi means both. Ambivalent means in two minds. You're not sure about, right? So would ambivalent fit in? Could be, yeah. So this is a word which we don't eliminate right away. Scornful. Scornful to express optimism doesn't really fit in. Scornful now, what are we looking for over here? We are looking for something negative. They are not optimistic, right? So scornful is a negative word, but what does scornful mean? Scornful usually is used when you're talking about criticizing somebody. You're not talking good about somebody. There's the scornful. So not here. Okay. Overjoyed? Not at all. Yeah. Now we are left with reticent. What would reticent mean? Reticent means? Any idea what reticent means? Reticent would mean something like not really interested in, or the reticent, if you say reticent would be they want to withdraw, not really interested in doing something.
Reticent would mean not revealing one's thoughts, right?
Pardon?
Thoughts or feelings. It would mean not revealing one's thoughts or feelings.
Yeah, and it would also mean not willing to go forward, right? So now not willing to reveal made them dash to express. Now another important keyword over here is to express optimism. Made them what to express optimism. So between now we have two words we have to choose from: ambivalent and reticent. Right? Now, if we use ambivalent, does it make sense? Were they in two minds to express optimism? Or was it that they did not want to express optimism? What would be it? Think. Read the sentence again. Although the warring parties had settled a number of disputes, past experience made them withdraw from expressing optimism, or made them go into minds about expressing optimism. To rather be clearer, meaning would be withdrawing from expressing optimism or not wanting to express.
But it could also be a case of having mixed feelings, right?
Yeah, but that is again, that would come in if that would be make clearer sense if we said that earlier they had settled some disputes, did not settle some. Yeah, that would make clearer sense. So
But
here,
it said
they
right that
don't, they
although
are
they had
not.
settled a number of disputes.
Yeah. So in this case, we would go with reticent because they do not want to express optimism that talks would be a success, or they are not optimistic about it. We are not talking about two minds, right? So though they had settled a number of disputes earlier, but now they are not expressing optimism. So they are reticent to express optimism. So they are withdrawing from expressing.
But how are we sure that they don't want to express optimism and they're just not confused? They have settled disputes in the past, right?
Ma'am, in this case, it's about, ma'am, like they had settled their disputes, but further back in the past, they have in their memory the experiences they had.
Yeah. So
So now, ma'am, they're not sure whether to go ahead or
yeah,
not.
they are
It's
not sure.
not like,
So they are not very like sure about their optimism. They don't want to be. They are not really optimistic about it, right? So
but you only said they are not sure, right? So if they are not sure, it means they're mixed. They have mixed feelings.
yeah, they have made. Now another thing. If you look at the sentence, the ambivalent you use usually when it is a milder case. Yeah, ambivalent is not a very strong word. Ambivalent is you are just in two minds of doing something. Is this something mild? We need a stronger word, right? That's another thing. When you have two words, you look at the tone of the word. That is it expressing a strong feeling? That's what we require, or we require a milder feeling. So ambivalent is usually used when a milder expression is required. So in this case, do we need a milder expression? We're talking about warring parties, right? So they are going into talks about another settlement of a war. Are they in two minds? Or they are not sure? They don't really have optimism. It's more like they are not optimistic. So we will go with reticent, right? Got it now, Soham, Harini? So when you have two words, both seem to fit in, you analyze a little further and see whether you are expressing a strong, whether you require a strong word or a milder word. Got it now? These will
Yes.
be, these will always be a little challenging. So that's why, okay, another word for reticent could be taciturn. Instead of reticent, if you had taciturn, you could have, so you can write the words. Ambivalent would be indecisive, reticent would be reluctant or taciturn, right? Now we are talking about support indicators. Those were contrast. Now, what are support indicators? Like, and also furthermore, likewise, in addition, what are they doing? They're giving you additional information or something that is supporting the main point, right? Okay, let's look at this sentence. Her charisma was a double-edged sword. In her friends, it aroused both admiration and dash. Now, there are two things you have to see here. If you understand what it is saying, if you look at the first part, her charisma was a double-edged sword. What do you mean by double-edged sword? Yeah. So there are two sides of it. One is good, one is bad. So that is your clue to what words should come in, right? So when you are talking about a double-edged sword, means in a friends it arouses both admiration and what? So it has to be opposite of admiration, right? So envy. Now what is envy could be the answer. We'll still look into the other words. Envy, we don't anything. Laudation means? Laudation is praise. Yeah, you laud somebody means you praise some. Same as admiration. This won't be your answer. Equanimity. Any idea? Equanimity means something that levels out or something that moderates, brings equality, right? Obstinacy. What is obstinacy there? He's obstinate. Means
Stubborn.
stubborn, right? Affection. So equanimity, will it fit in? No. Obstinacy? No. So obstinacy would be an adjective. We need an adjective over here. So grammatically also good. Affection related to admiration is not opposite. Yeah, we are looking for something which is the opposite of admiration. So envy is your answer. Got it? So now we are saying we need this and we need an added word over here. So they've given you all the added words, laudation, affection. Yeah. So you will go with those words if you haven't read the context. So your key to this is the double-edged sword. Right? So what do? Read the sentence, break it down, look at the key clues, and get to your answer. Equanimity could be also calmness or poise, right? Stubbornness, obstinacy, another word could be tenacity. Where are this word? Tenacity also means stubbornness. One must write. Yeah, दिया है तो देख लेते हैं. Write it down. The meaning of equanimity, the meaning of obstinacy, and synonyms. Right? So what was your strategy? You had to look for your clues. Every sentence will give you clues to the answer. So if you don't look for your clues, you will go and mark something like laudation or affection, which would be wrong. Written? Equanimity is calmness of voice, obstinacy is stubbornness or tenacity. Right? So if you have the word tenacity instead of obstinacy, so you will know what it means. What about this question? Read it carefully. Now, we're talking about sunscreens. of both dash and internal varieties. So here is something you little knowledge. Now girls use sunscreens, right? Have you ever seen what is written on the tube? Huh? Where do you apply sunscreens? On the skin, on a surface, right? So we are talking about sunscreens that are both internal and dash. Now we know the sunscreens are used externally. Do we have a word externally here? Atmospheric relates to the atmosphere, what is around you, not on your skin. We're talking about sunscreens. Huh? Territorial. No. It's not territorial. It's not polar. Polar would be, okay, when do you use the word polar? Literally, it means the poles. Yeah. And idiomatically, it would mean opposite.
Extreme.
Extremes. Right? Now, tropical. Tropical would be related to the tropical region and related to surface. So tropical would be your answer. Here is what is related to a surface. So it would be both of external or surface, that is tropical, and internal varieties. It won't be atmospheric or rigid. Right? So now if you see these questions, they are expecting you to have a little higher knowledge of vocabulary. Yes or no? So you have to work on your vocabulary. You have to have an idea of words. Right? Okay, done this. So what do we do? We look at the keywords. We are talking about sunscreens. Now, all that at the cutting edge of research, scientists are developing new. Is that information important to your blank? They're developing new something. So, which are now sunscreens we know are used for external purpose, but they are also going to be used for internal purpose. So we have to look for something which is related to external. That is tropical. Associated with external skin protection. You can write the word. Now we come to the cause effect indicators. What are they? Something is happening because of that, something else is happening. Right? That's causal. So what are the words that we can come across? Because, for, thus, hence, therefore, if. Yeah. Then consequently, as a result, even so. Right? Okay, let's look at this question. Because it begins with because. So we know there is something happening because of something. Okay? Because a house. Because a house has the votes to override the presidential veto, the president has no choice but to what? Now break down the sentence. What are we talking about? The house has the votes to override the presidential. What's presidential veto? You studied political science. For the president to exercise his vote, right? So the president can actually overturn a decision by his or her vote. But here we said that the house has the votes to override the presidential. Right? So the House has the majority of votes. So the president cannot exercise his or her veto. So what is happening as a result of that? The president has no choice but to do what? Abstain. Abstain? Yes, sir?
Abstains, like,
Abstain means, what does abstain mean? Yeah?
not participating. Was not used.
But president is a powerful person and in a responsible position. Can the president abstain? Think of it logically. Now use your logic. Can the president just leave and go? No. So president cannot leave. Now president may be against the motion, but the majority in the House has given the votes. So say if there are, how many seats are there in the parliament? 526, right? 550. Yeah, that is for the Rajya Sabha. Talking about the Lok Sabha. 526 or something. I think there was 4 more seats this year. Okay, so suppose about 450 of the votes have been cast for a particular decision. Right? A bill is being passed, 450 votes are up for the bill. But the president wants to exercise his veto. In this case, cannot. So what does the president have to do? Go with the decision, right? So can he object? Think logically. He cannot object. Abdicate means, what is abdicate? Yeah. Abdicate means give up power.
Yes, ma'am. It means giving up, like surrendering your power or something.
So an emperor abdicates power. Yeah, or the CEO abdicates his power. That to give up. Abstain. Now abdicate power. Would it be used? Logically, not likely. Abstain. Compromise. Only word that we can is closest to, has to go along with the decision is compromise. Yeah. Now it may not fit in 100%, but closest. So closest in meaning to what you need is compromise. Got it? So it's not, now if you don't analyze properly, you can go with abstain. Right? But you have to analyze logically. So remember your not only the vocabulary or the context, but logical thinking is also. Okay? Okay, I have these meanings here. You can write the meanings. Abdicate, renounce as in power or throne. The emperor renounced his throne. The prime minister renounced his post. Abstain is to refrain or withdraw.
So basically, you can choose these things of using this election to withdraw this election.
Now here, see, if you look at the sentence, we can say he can withdraw the presidential veto. Compromise doesn't fit, but this is one of the early questions, and that is the answer according to IPM. Because here we can say abstain or refrain. He can, so refrain from what? Now, another thing, if you see, another thing, abstain. Now, when you say abstain, it should be abstain from what? This is the phrase that comes in with, or the prepositional phrase that it comes in. So just abstain grammatically doesn't fit, right? So abstain from something, abstain from voting, or abstain from using his pronouns. So that's another thing. Apart from just saying abstain, like, yeah, abstain if you are to substitute for what you are thinking that refrain or withdraw, but abstain should come with from what. Yeah, so in that case, compromise will be the best fit. Okay. Now we come to using connotations. That is whether we need a positive word or a negative word, which we have been doing all this time. So now here is when we will get synonyms and then seem to be fitting. Right? Say if you have two words like thrifty and cheap. Thrifty means somebody is thrifty. Means spends less. Yeah, is careful about spend. Cheap is a negative. Thrifty is more or less a positive. So we will look for positive or negative choices. This is an example. Because of his dash, Max's guests left very welcome and comfortable, felt very welcome and comfortable, staying at his house for the weekend. Now, what are your keywords? Felt very welcome and comfortable. So what are we talking about? A positive idea, right? So because of his, we need a positive word. So we will eliminate anything that is negative. Animosity. What does animosity mean? Does it seem positive or negative? Negative. Yeah. Animosity means unfriendly. Yeah. You are against somebody. That way. Hospitality. Hospitality is positive. Can fit in. Right? Determination is positive. Does it fit in? Because of his determination, Max's guest felt welcome. Wittiness is again positive. Does it fit in? They were welcome because of his wittiness? Not. Severity is a negative. Yeah, something that is not very good, but strong. Severity is usually used when you're talking about a punishment is severe. Right? So answer will be a positive word, hospital. Yeah. So according to the connotation of the sentence, we are looking for a positive or negative. Okay. Now we had said that now all this time, what did we do? We looked at the blanks, looked at the context, thought of an answer of our own. Yeah. Then selected the correct answer, eliminated and selected. So, and then we plugged the choice back into the sentence and figure out whether it's correct or not. Sometimes when we are confused, we go a little further with logical reasoning and grammar. Okay. So this is what we did. So to select an answer, all these things we went through. So now you know what you have to apply to get to the correct answer. Don't just jump to an answer. Analyze properly. Look at the context. Look at the keywords. Look at the clues. Then plug it back. Right? If you have two options which are confusing, analyze deeper. Right? And if you still can't figure out, don't take a wild guess, take a reasoned guess. So you eliminate everything else, two answers left. Now, if you're still not very sure, but you want to mark an answer, you are willing to take the risk of -1. But you know that somewhere I think this is the correct answer. So you can take that risk if, say, you've got all the other questions correct. Then you go for with that risk. Yeah, and this is important. This is where we usually go down. So don't presume that an answer choice is correct merely because it provides an upscale. So ये कुछ भी नहीं fit हो रहा है. This word I don't know, but seems to be okay. Don't go with seems to be okay. Right? Sounds correct. Sounds correct is never correct. Anything that sounds correct, no. Don't go with your 6 Go with reasoning. Okay. Now let's look at some. Okay, read this sentence carefully. Lots of words. Do the words make sense? We have Arshad is an opprobrious and dash speaker, equally caustic towards his friend or foe. A true curmudgeon. What idea do you get? Is he a good person or a negative person? Is it positive or negative? We are getting a negative idea. Q. Now, do you know the meaning of opprobrious? Say you don't. Now, equally caustic. What do you associate with caustic? Caustic means something that is corrosive. Chemical which is caustic means caustic soda. It's corrosive. Is it a good thing? Negative. So we know we need a negative word over here. Right? So suppose we don't know the meaning of opprobrious, we don't know the meaning of curmudgeon. And so we come to the words. Lofty. Lofty is positive or negative? Lofty means something big, larger than usual, right? So would that fit in? No. Lofty usually used in a positive sense. Vituperative. Do we know the meaning? Move on. Unstinted. Can you figure out the meaning of unstinted? Stinted. Stinted. Something is stinted means it is small. Unstinting, not small, it is big, large, similar to lofty. So wood is, he is an unstinting speaker. Doesn't fit in. Retiring. Retire means a person retires from his job, means leaves, withdraws. Does it fit in? What did we now? Eliminated A, C, and D. What are we left with? B. That should be the answer. We don't know any of the meanings, but still we can get to the answer. Yes or no? Eliminate. So usually when a question has, that's what I've seen, when a question has very difficult words, usually it will be framed in such a way that you can get to your answer with some clues. So here our clue was caustic. We knew somehow that this is a negative word, and all the options given to us, we could easily eliminate. Right? Now we should know the meanings of the words also. Now write the meanings. Opprobrious is scornful, offensive, or like in general we can say abusive. Right? Caustic would be cynical or satirical. So it is close to having a corrosive behavior, which is not good. Yes, Shirish, do you want to write? Next word, curmudgeon is a bad-tempered person. Or in simple words, or common usage, you can say killjoy. So a bad-tempered person. Caustic, cynical, satirical. It is, we are talking about a speaker. So what type of speaker he is to see? He uses satire. Yeah, he doesn't say something straight away. So negative, when you talk about cynical, cynical means having a negative tone, criticizing somebody, something like that. Right? Cambodian didn't. Lofty is towering. It could also be used as proud and haughty. But will we say he's a proud speaker? Lofty is big, and if we look at like as an adjective, it could be proud. Vituperative is abusive or malicious. Right? Abusive, malicious. Unstinting is used in the sense of generous. Right? Something which is not stint, like you don't want to give something that is, you have stinted feelings. Unstinting is open, big, generous, or bountiful. Retiring, reserved or introvert. You retire into yourself. Right? It's not really relaxing, but retiring means move away. So you're retiring within yourself means introvert. You can also be unassuming. Got it? So written the meanings? Some new words? Now you remember the words? Vituperative is a very commonly used word. As you come across this word in exams. Cambodian maybe you don't, but still it does. caustic dulls. Now let's look at this question. Not only did the exhibit clearly show the health benefits of a vegetarian diet, it showed how those benefits often translate into a greater sense of dash. So what is the overall tone? Positive or negative? Positive, right? Now, what are we talking about? What is the context? We are talking about something showing the health benefits of a vegetarian diet, yeah, and how those benefits translate into a greater sense of what. So, if you're talking about health benefits, means greater sense of well-being or energy, something of that sort. So we need a positive word. So what do? Eliminate what doesn't fit in. Negative words to be eliminated. Vitality, positive or negative? Mendacity. Any idea? What does it look like? Does it look positive? We keep that. Remorse. Contrition.
Ma'am, I think mendacity means like it's a negative word. It means
Yeah.
someone who's like lying or untruthful.
Yeah, it is untruthful or somebody who is not keeping word. That contrition. Do we know the meaning? It is a negative word again, right? Now, when we're talking about health, what does it give us a greater sense of? Obviously, vitality, right? So even if you don't know all the words, we know this is the answer, right? Okay, now let's look at the words. Vitality means energy. It is related to energy, liveliness, vigor, dynamism, zest, zeal, right? Mendacity is dishonesty, deceit. Write it down. Are people feeling sleepy? No? You don't have an exercise book? All the verbal classes, please get an exercise. Right? Okay. Mendacity would relate to dishonesty. Remorse, sorrow, regret. Yeah, he's full of remorse, he regrets something. Contrition is also related to regret, repent. You could say penitence, that also means the same. Penance, penitence. Penance means? What does penance mean?
Ma'am, it means like a meditation or like something like that gurus and sadhus do for to attain nirvana or like to attain God's blessings.
Penance usually refers to giving up everything and like putting yourself through hardships to attain something. So it's like punishing yourself, right? It's usually in that sense. So you've got these words, contrition and remorse go in the same category. Contrition is more of repentance, and remorse is more of like sorrowful regret. Yeah. Let's look at this. Try to figure this out. Let me know if you get to the answer. They're talking about that courage is only dash.
Ma'am, is the answer a bravado?
See, why do you think it's bravado?
Ma'am, because I feel bravado is a word which means like showing off or like
Yeah.
showing yourself as something which you are not. So their courage is only bravado, and a small show of strength is enough to call their bluff.
Yes, you are right. So, context is that courage is only dash, and a small show of strength is enough to call their bluff. So, means the courage is false. That's what we get. It's not real courage. Like you show them somebody just challenges them and they will back off. Right? So now ostentation. Do you know the meaning of ostentation? Right. Fortitude.
Like courage and patience. Something.
Yeah, fortitude is a positive. Now, what word are we looking for? We're looking for a negative word. Right? Fortitude is a positive word. It's related to courage, but it is positive. Temperament. Temperament, not temperature. Temperament is how you see a person. What is he like? If you explain like that. Exhibition is only exhibition. That's really good. Yeah. Bravado is the correct. Now, if you look at the meanings, ostentation is display of wealth. It could be knowledge, wealth or knowledge, or it could also mean like flamboyance or pretentiousness. So it is pretentiousness, but more display of wealth or knowledge. So it wouldn't relate to courage or false courage as such. Right? So somebody is flamboyance means showing off wealth. Fortitude is courage, bravery, endurance in a positive way. Right? Temperament is usually related to personality or character, how a person is, or you can say disposition of a person. Exhibition is plain simple display, right? Or presentation, show something. We can't use exhibition of courage. We can say display of courage, but not exhibition. So even if they are synonyms, the synonyms also you have to see whether they fit in or not. Right? So you got the words down? Everyone? Bravado, pretended courage, or like boastfulness, or false courage, you can say. You're just boasting about the courage, but it's not like real courage.
Actually used for within a sentence.
Fortitude. Can say it was because of his fortitude that he could save the child from the lion.
And bravado.
Bravado is he just talked about his bravado, but he just ran away when the lion came. Right? So if bravado will be referring to false courage, just show off.
All this so we could if it seems that bravado is appropriate, we can say that he was showing off this courage and then that came the ranks. That would exist. Right? It would be like he was pretending his courage.
Yeah, he was pretending. Bravado refers to pretending. You pretend to be courageous. You say that I have lots of courage. I can face anything. when something actually happens, you just back up, withdraw. Right? So that means that is not true courage. You're just showing, you're just saying that you are courageous. So here, their courage is only bravado, means it's false. Just sure.
So
Yeah.
can we say that we got to know about his bravado when the time came and he faced the actual threats? Like, can we use like we got to know that about his bravado? Like we got to know about bravado and
If we got to know about bravado, now if you say the whole sentence, are you using it in a negative situation?
Yes.
Yeah. So the rest of the sentence should show that it is a negative situation. When he just ran away from the situation, from the challenge, then we can say it is bravado. Right? So usage makes a lot of difference in the, so the context should be there. We're using a word, the context should be clear. Okay, all these words, but okay, let's look at this. Now read this carefully. We know what the answer is. Words are simple. If the words are simple, the sentence will not be very simple. Right? So think carefully. Nullifies, encourages, guarantees, accentuates, convenience. The aspiring candidate's performance, we're talking about aspiring candidate, means the candidate wants to do something. So what does he want to do? He wants to win the election. Right? Now, the aspiring candidate's performance in the debate all but dash any hope he may have had winning the election. So, paraphrase the sentence. We are talking about his performance in the debate. Yeah, and what effect it had on the hope of winning the election. Nullifies. So we are talking about all but. So when you have all but in a sentence, means something happened, but it did everything except this. Right? So it did everything except so it all but nullified means it did not give any hope. It did whatever he did, it went negative again for him. Right? Now don't take it literally all but this. That is an idiomatic expression. If you take it literally, you will say it didn't nullify. Right? But when you have all but something, it is idiomatic, saying that, okay, this is, it goes into a negative situation. So, aspiring candidate's performance in the debate all but dash hope he may have had winning the election. So, whatever hope he had of winning, his performance just about drained it all out, right? So nullifies will fit in. Encourages, no. Guarantees winning, no. Accentuate means increase. Accentuate means to increase. Yeah, support or increase. Contains, no. So only answer is not. Got this one? Understood? All but doesn't mean accept this. It's idiomatic, which goes into the negative direction. I hope you people are able to do these questions. Yeah? You're understanding the gravity of vocabulary and comprehension. That's why I've been telling you to read all the time. Just doing questions will not be enough. You have to be in the habit of reading, right? So all but would literally mean everything except, but it usually means almost completely. That is idiomatic. So in the literal sense, it would be everything except, but otherwise. So the explanation is given here. We've already discussed it. Okay, let's come to the next question. So easy. Yes. Harini, Soham, Yasham. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here, ma'am.
Okay. So air in the room contains several household plants. Household plants will lead to more oxygen. So enjoyed by me, exhausted is the opposite. Obscured. What does obscured mean? Something is obscured, not clear. Right? It's usually used in the sense that it is something is not clear. Something is obscure, means there's no clarity about it. So it will be saturated with dark. This was easy. Now, she is the most dash person I have ever met, seemingly with an endless reserve of energy. So first thing, what are we looking for? Positive or negative? Positive, right? She is the most dash person. And we are talking about endless reserve of energy.
Vivacious.
Yeah. So we could say vivacious person. Vivacious means
Lively.
lively, energetic. Yeah. Okay. Now, jejune, do you know the meaning of jejune?
Naive.
For now. Solicitous, that you can figure out. Solicitor General. What is Solicitor General?
Caring.
Solicitous means giving advice, usually, that is what it refers to. Impudent, is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Indolent, negative. Eliminate. And if you don't know, you know these two are negative, right? So vivacious is the answer, but we should know the meaning of jejune. Jejune means dull, uninteresting. And the meaning? Jejune would be dull or uninterested. Insipid. Insipid means something that is again dull, right? Vivacious is lively, energetic, bubbly, spirited, vibrant, solicitous, concerned, caring. Yeah, somebody who is concerned, caring, or like in the sense that wants to give good advice to you, that also could be used. But dictionary meaning would be concerned, caring, or reflective. Impudent, rude, disrespectful. Right? You could also say insolent or impertinent. Take note of those words also. So impudent, insolent, impertinent, all of them mean rude, disrespectful. Indolent. We have come across the word doleful. Means without energy. So lazy, sluggish, inactive. So this would be the opposite of vivacious. Jejune is also opposite of vivacious. Yeah. So these are antonyms of vivacious. Got it? Written? Okay. So how many words have you written? Pages full? So many words you knew or didn't know? Didn't know, right? Now you know them? Let's see. Okay, these are some, you want to do them now or you want to do homework? We'll do these, maybe the ones in the book you can do homework, right? We read this sentence and figure out the connection between the ideas. What is the connection between that? First of all, what are the ideas and what is the connection? Concern for the earthquake victims dash her reputation as a callous person. So what do we see?
Rescinded.
Rescinded. Okay. Let's see whether that would be. Now, her concern for the earthquake victims. We are talking about her concern for the victims. Yeah. And here we are talking about reputation as a callous person. What do you mean by a callous person? Callous we've come across. Callous means somebody who's not careful, doesn't care, unconcerned, right? So what are we getting? We are getting a contrast. So she was concerned for the earthquake victims, and that was like against her or disproved her reputation as a character person. So what are the words we can say? Does restored fit in? So proved, created. Now we have rescinded and belied. Yeah? Do you know the meaning of rescinded?
Ma'am, in this case, ma'am, belied would be a more suitable option, right, ma'am? Because belied means fail to fulfill or justify, ma'am. So in this case, it did not justify her reputation as a callous person.
Right. So it is not just now. Let's look at the meaning of rescinded. cancel or revoke usually refers to a law taken back. Right? So write the meaning of rescinded. To cancel, revoke, or officially take back usually an order. Right? And callous is insensitive or callous behavior means somebody's very insensitive behavior, not caring for anything. So what rescinded bit in, Harini?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't know it was only related to like lawful activities, like taking back a law. I just thought it
Ma'am,
meant to cancel or revoke.
Cancel or revoke usually referring to a law. So belied would be the correct word. Belied means it. Wait, what does belied actually mean? It's a common word. Let's see if we know the meaning. Belied.
Change.
Change word.
Everything's and
It goes against your common perception. Belied is it is not according to what you think. Usually that is what it means. So rescinded would be revoked, cancelled, or annulled, but usually it is more appropriately repeal or abolish. Okay? For this? So two words seem to fit in, but one, if you look at the context, rescinded doesn't fit in, belied does. Let's look at this question. Read carefully and try to figure out the clues. It begins with lucky. It's a big clue. So what is it talking about? It's talking about, say, a faith, Shinto, which lacks scriptures or something. So if you're talking about a faith,
relics.
faith relics. So we are talking about Shinto as a, say, a way of life or a belief system, or maybe following a certain sect, right? Is more properly regarded as a legacy of traditional practices. Yeah, it is a traditional practices and basic values than as a formal system of belief. So when you have a formal system of belief, means it has hard and fast rules and regulations to follow, right? And here we are talking about legacy of traditional practices, means things that have been handed down from generation to generation, right? Okay, so it lacks scriptures or dash, and it is more of traditional practices than formal system of beliefs. So what can we say? Now scriptures are not there. What else cannot be there? Say rules and regulations, something of that sort, right? Or some strict commandments. So can we say followers? No, obviously they have followers. Customs, it lacks customs. We are talking about traditional practices. So can we say it lacks customs? It surely has customs. Dogma. Do you know what dogma is?
Mom, I take back my answer, Mom. It should be dogma, not relics.
Dogma means some strict beliefs.
Mom, principles or rules.
Principles or something which is like very strictly followed.
Ma'am,
Relics.
it also means like ideology. So like beliefs
Yeah.
of a certain group or like ideas. Yeah. Ideology.
Ideology is milder. Dogma means something that is strictly followed. Right? Ideologies that would be very strictly followed. Like when they talk about a formal system of belief, they have ideologies that are followed to the T. Right? Relics means remains. Like you say, Buddha's relics can be found in the stupas. Right? So relics would be remains. Faith, it is a faith in itself. So we can't say faith or relics. So your answer will be dogma. Okay? So what was the context we were looking for? Something that is traditional, it doesn't have scriptures, and it is different from. Now that sets up the contrast. Right? It is different from formal system. So your reasoning has to be correct to get to the answer. Right? So dogma is an official set of beliefs. So if it is something formal, you have an official set of beliefs. So it is principles, but something which is officially recognized or implemented. Let's look at another question. 4 options. Then IPM 22. Single blank. What should go in? Understand the context carefully. Ever since Grish won the prestigious Infosys Prize, he has been behaving dash. Yeah, ever since he won the prize. And we are talking about his behavior. So was his behavior the same or has it changed? What idea do we get? His behavior has changed, right? So ever since he won the prize, his behavior may have gone to what? Is he too proud? Right? Probably. So he has been behaving ambitiously. No. He was maybe ambitious, he got the prize. But after that, he's behaving ambitiously, doesn't make logical sense. It's not logical. Condescendingly. Do we know condescendingly? He's not very like mixing with people. He's not very amicable towards other people. Overly, he's behaving overly. No. He's gone over something or overly smart, that way we can say. Controversially, no. What are we left with? This one word which probably we know the meaning. Yeah? Maybe we don't, but we have eliminated the others anyway. So that's our answer. Right? So we use logic to eliminate words that will not. We need to know the meaning of condescendingly. In a way that shows a feeling of superiority. Yeah, he has a feeling of superiority, disdainfully talking down on others, snobbish, arrogant, so it's a negative. his behavior has changed to a negative thing. So this means, so you can write the word, please write the word. In a way that shows the feeling of superiority, or you can just say arrogantly or disdainfully. That gives the meaning for. Okay. Done. Other words are easy, ambitiously, overly, and controversially. You know what. So when you know the meaning of a word and you know it doesn't fit in, you can easily eliminate. So the thing is that even if you don't know the meaning of a word, you can still get to your answer. Right? Usually they will not give words, all of them are unknown. Some you will know, some you can figure out. Most importantly, you can figure out whether you need a positive word or negative. Overly is too much or excessively below. So let's look at this. So what do we have here? As the employee's motives were found to be dash, no disciplinary action will be taken against him for the mistake. There was a mistake, right? But they are saying no disciplinary action will be taken. Why?
Penning.
Maybe his mistake was not something that was serious or did not harm anybody, or it could also be unintentional. This is intentional. So absurd will absurd.
Ma'am, it should be gratuitous, right?
Gratuitous.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that would be the answer. Okay, let's see. Absurd doesn't fit in, right? Improvised doesn't fit in. Intentional doesn't. If it was
Ma'am,
intentional,
ma'am, it won't be benign because benign is a very negative word. So we can also cut benign out of it.
we can take the
Benign
benign
is
means
not
Because
a
something
negative.
it's
that
quite
is
it's quite a negative word which has a negative meaning. So
benign.
as
Benign
Benign
means
means
gentle
something
or kind.
It's a positive word.
benign is positive or negative.
It's a positive word. It means kind, right?
Let's look at the meanings. Absurd is foolish. Gratuitous is unnecessary and unwarranted. Do you think gratuitous was, say, so who says gratuitous is the answer?
Ma'am, I'm saying so.
So what did you think gratuitous
Gratuitous,
is?
ma'am, it also means done with a good reason, ma'am.
It means done without a good reason.
Without good reason. Unnecessary, unwarranted, is not required. Something that is not required, that is gratitude. It has
Oh, okay,
nothing
got it.
nothing to do with grateful. Don't get confused with grateful.
Yes, ma'am, understood my mistake.
So it means unnecessary. So that is also eliminated. Benign means something that does not harm. Yeah. So improvise. Benign is gentle or harmless. So his mistake was something that did not cause harm. So he could be left it go. Right? So you can write the meanings. Absurdly, no, it is foolish or ridiculous. Gratuitous, write it down. Unnecessary or unwarranted. It is something that is not required to be done. Improvised, you know what it is. So just make up on the spot, and benign is harmless. Say you can say we thought the tiger was ferocious, but it turned out to be benign. You done with this? Intentional, deliberate of this or done on purpose. Let's look at this one question. It begins with because. So because of something. Now we're talking about because of his success. Context is important. Success as a comedian. Directors were loath to consider him for what type of roles. They did not want to consider him for what roles. Loath means reluctant. So loath to. Another thing you should notice, loath always goes with to. Reluctant goes with to.
Leading.
Leading. Okay. See. Now he was a successful comedian. Means he led as a comedian. So would leading fit in?
Ma'am, it could be dramatic also, right? Ma'am, or rather dramatic.
Right. Okay, supporting we can eliminate. Yeah. He was already a successful comedian and directors did not want to put him in what type of roles. Yeah. So not supporting, leading we can rule out because he could be in a leading comedian role. Yeah. Dramatic would relate to what? The comedic we can eliminate. Musical.
Dramatic would relate to something with drama.
Musical
With
could also be comedy. Right? Dramatic would be something related to more of drama and more of intense acting. So, since he was a comedian, they did not want him in an intense role. So, dramatic would be your answer here. Correct? Okay, this
But
one.
why would directors want comedians to become the leading roles? Like, why would they want them to pursue the
Okay,
leading
now
roles?
the logic.
They're not actors, right?
1 minute. Now, what do you mean by leading? Leading can be in any form. He could be a leading comedian. He could be a leading musician, right? So maybe he's already in a leading role. Leading is more general. Leading what type of role? Right? That would make sense. If you said leading dramatic role, it could mean leading romantic role, it would make sense. But just leading doesn't really make sense.
Okay.
Because if he was a successful comedian, he's already in a leading comedian. Right. So leading, he's already in a leading position because he is a successful person. So just leading would not make sense over here. And musical could also be a comedian, right? So dramatic is the only option that doesn't fit in with a comedian. Right? Want to do one more question? Arjun, can you? Huh? Okay, I'll let you go. When he starts it in the plan. Okay, so that's it for now. Right? So you understood how to deal with these questions? Yeah. So today we did mostly single blank questions. And you will do so you will do the rest of the questions here. So we did this. There are two more questions in this. So till question number 10 you can do, and your assignment will be so write your assignment, module 5, chapter 3, exercise 1, questions 1 to 15 only, and exercise 2, questions 1 to 15. Right? So these are the one blank question. And next session we will do the multiple blank questions. So 3 blanks, 4 blanks, and how we do them. Okay? We've done 1 or 2 of them now, but we will be focusing on the multiple blank questions. So for now, you do these 15, even 30 questions. And please, when you come next time, I don't want to hear, we forgot to do the questions. Why are you in the corner hiding? You want to sleep? So that's it for today. You understood how to deal with these? So you will do these questions. Any doubts that come up? Now, if you don't come up with doubts, I will know you haven't done them. If you do the questions, there will be some doubts, right?
Ma'am, can we leave now? We have another class with Manish in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just ending this class so you can get a break and we'll come back next session. Okay,
Thank you,
then.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye,
Good day.
ma'am. Good day.
So you people can have your lunch over tomorrow. So did this seem difficult? Naina? Hold on. Practice it. Okay. Yeah. Are you people doing your module tests? Yeah, sure. Yeah. The module tests on the portal. Haven't started? Okay, let's start. So at least finish up the vocabulary, no, the grammar modules. Yeah. So after that, you can start with your vocabulary. Everybody say your class on this, come on. Everybody say the class was good. Zoom running on it.